Alright, everyone, the corporate swill media continues to titillate people with lurid tales of impeachment, but the thing is, at other times they stop talking about it entirely, sometimes for days on end. I keep wondering why that would be. I think my initial estimation is correct. Nancy Pelosi wanted to bring up the specter of impeachment for political reasons because there's no other way to stop Trump. She's not confident that any of the Democrats that are there can win without a little boost from the Democrats in Congress by holding impeachment hearings over Trump's head with a fake-as-fuck whistleblower with a fake-as-fuck tale that involves apparently an Obama-linked official or a far-left official now, I think they're claiming, whistleblowing things that aren't even necessarily true. You've got a transcript that's already been released. Trump is constantly antagonizing on this token. He's got his son doing it without coordination, I'm sure. That's sarcasm, by the way. He obviously is not particularly worried. When I look at the way Trump is acting, it's the way he's acted in the past with, like, the Mueller probe or tax returns. Things that he doesn't expect to get in trouble on, probably because he knows that either he did nothing wrong, or even if he did something wrong, he hid it well enough and he doesn't expect to be caught. Which could be the case. He is a corporate cutthroat. He has been one for his entire life. Let's be entirely honest here. I'm sure he has done illegal things, of course. But anything substantive that I care about, no, I don't expect that. And even if he did, if it was far in the past, it's not exactly impeachable now. We are talking about a situation in which Donald Trump used the office of the presidency to lean on a foreign country to do its damn job and threaten to withhold money if they didn't. That's not only not impeachable, it's a function of the executive branch conducting diplomacy. The fact that Ukraine is our ally and this money was linked to oil firms, I don't care about all of that, and I don't think the average American does. Thus, Nancy Pelosi created a non-scandal, probably had coordination with the so-called whistleblower. It's probably all planned from the top down. It's not a this isn't an organic thing. Somebody had legitimate complaints. This was, hey, you do this for us so we can get an impeachment inquiry going. That may be found out, by the way, but I wouldn't hold my breath. You'd probably never see evidence of it. She wanted to have an inquiry based on fake evidence, but she never expected to have official inquiry going on because it would involve the Republicans, not just the Democrats. She doesn't want that because she knows that she's got a shaky as fuck foundation for the entire move. The whole idea is to have an inquiry in the public's mind, but not in the legislature actually itself codified with rules and everything. The Republicans and Trump forced her hand, said, look, you can't keep this unofficial bullshit going. You've got to conform to the rules of Congress. They managed to back her into a corner in which she had no choice because they did something very smart. They antagonized the far left. They antagonized the AOC, the Gang of Four, the Squad, people like that. The vocal minority within the Democratic Party that everyone is so concerned about. The far left forced the neoliberals to open an official inquiry. This was done because Trump and the other Republicans very wisely decided to harangue about the fact that it wasn't official and therefore was not meaningful for weeks and weeks and weeks. Pelosi, I don't think, expected this. I think she's been blindsided. I don't think any of this was part of her plan. That's why she almost immediately went back on impeachment inquiry the first time. She wanted the public to think there was something official happening when there wasn't. Because then the Democrats can just make it partisan, and they can leak little tidbits from their closed-door hearing to the press, and they can make it look like Trump is evil. They can't do that if the Republicans are in the room privy to the same information, which is why Trump now has the upper hand. Now they're probably going to try to force an impeachment vote. Pelosi doesn't want that, because she expects it to fail. All of this bravado that you see from her, from the Democrats, from the far left, certainly about the odds of impeaching Trump, go out the window when you additionally realize that the threshold for removing him from office, even if you do impeach, is catastrophically high and would require the will of a significant minority of all the Republicans in the Senate. That's not going to happen. We've already got all the info. We've got the testimony. We've got the so-called whistleblower's report. We probably know who it is now. The allegation is there. I can't even pronounce the dude's name. A mid-level CIA asset who's been rumored all along. Got name dropped by Don Jr. the other night. That's pretty high up. We've got all of this information. They can take the case to the American people, but that's the thing. They have to do that. You can't just take it before the legislature, the American people. There's no popular vote on impeachment. But if the public sentiment, the public will is not with you, that becomes a problem. As long as they were able to keep it unofficial and leak little tidbits to the press, they could paint a picture of Trump as anything that they wanted. Make him look extremely ghoulish and outlandish and corrupt. Once the Republicans got a seat at the table, they no longer can do that. The claims that they've made are being picked apart and ruined, and I think public sentiment eventually, with time, will go in the other direction. People will see it as bullshit proceedings, which it is, and sentiment will turn against even impeaching Trump, let alone continuing even an inquiry. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money. But the legacy media will keep titillating, and I'll tell you why they'll keep the story in the headlines, because it's interesting to people. The people on the right that like Trump, they love the fact that impeachment is being discussed, because then they can indulge in their Trump derangement syndrome rants. And then people on the left can ramble about how evil Trump is and how tomorrow he'll get removed. This time he's surely done for. But he never has been before. You've been titillated enough, haven't you, with the Mueller probe? Supposedly a foreign state elected the President of the United States. Wow, what a headline that is. Russian interference got Trump elected. Wow, oh my God, our worst fears confirmed, and they can clutch their pearls and rub their hands together and be afraid and hide in their closet. But it was never true. And they all got let down, and they got massive blue balls from that. So then they moved on. They defaulted for a little while, actually, to the Trump Tower meeting and to his taxes, and that was sort of the interim, and then they got this new case. Wow! Oh my goodness, Trump, quid pro quo. How many of these people that are so worried even know what quid pro quo means? I mean in the literal translated sense, let alone in the legal sense for U.S. law. Almost none of them. They don't even know what's going on. They just got told by the Democrats there was an inquiry going on, and they conflated that in their minds with an actual impeachment proceeding. There's no current impeachment proceedings. They're just investigating at the moment. There's a lot more to go through before they could remove him from office. It's not going to happen. I think that Trump will probably come out smelling like a rose. That the Pelosi and her group now being forced by the far left to even open an official inquiry is really sad about that. They're trying to scrape together a scenario in which they can kick the can down the road past the election at least. Because then the inquiry is over his head but hasn't catastrophically failed as it inevitably would. They're hoping to drag it out long enough so he's no longer the president. Then they can drop the inquiry and move right on to a witch hunt after his taxes and shit once he's a private citizen. Which he knows that they will. Which is part of the reason that he's campaigning so hard. Why do you think he's out there every friggin' day on some new territory haranguing people? He expects the deep state to drag him through the gutter and attempt to ruin the presidency that he just had as soon as he's out of the presidency. He figures if he gets a second term, he can lock things down, or he'll be, an old man. They won't necessarily want to bother with it, except out of principle, and he can use his team of lawyers to stay out of prison. He expects to be railroaded. He expects that the U.S. injustice system is going to mistreat him and his family after he's no longer the president. So long as he's in there, he can't really be investigated now, can he? It's just that people have pointed out, some people believe that Joe Biden's only in the race to keep his high crimes and misdemeanors from being brought to light. That's possible. Hillary Clinton, if she gets in, that'd probably be the reason why. I don't expect it. I think at this point that ship has sailed. The idea, though, that there's even going to be an impeachment, there's 10 to 1 odds that he gets impeached, I'd say. Some people are saying, well, there's a 99% chance the president will be impeached. It wouldn't matter. Clinton got impeached. His approval rose. They shelved it in the Senate, and they never even bothered, I think, to vote on removing him from office, if I remember correctly. Because it's bullshit. These are bullshit claims. Nobody cares about his taxes. Ukraine quid pro quo, nobody cares about it. Nobody who knows anything about politics even minds. They don't even care if it's true. Even if the Democrats' tale is true, and Trump did everything that they said, I don't care about these things. Neither, by the way, do a lot of people on the left. That's about all. Peace out.